my love for teaching was, always with me, which I love, sharing the experiences which I have, gained so far. So I completed my engineering from prestigious, college, and that is called Career Institute of Technology and Management, and which is now called as Maharashtra International University. I am a student of Mr. Satyug Khan. So he's not only a great, human being, he's a great mentor, he's a great teacher, plus a great human being. I was blessed that, throughout my journey, I was blessed, or I am blessed, that I got company or, directions from great personalities, and teachers, always plays a very important role. Before I can, proceed ahead with today's session on data science, I would like to touch upon a few key aspects, based on what I have experienced so far, being, working in different leading companies. So I started my journey with Wipro and so on, progress ahead, continue my learning with HCL, IBM, Infosys, and so forth, landed here in Australia. What is common, is that if you're eager to, learn, nobody can stop you from going, anywhere where you want to see yourself. So again, with this, I would like to start with sharing, my experience. So guys, studying in a college, now going out and, launching yourself in the industrial, in the industry is not an easy task. Now, since today we are talking about self-reliant India, we are talking about self-sufficient India. So we need to do some homework within ourselves to make sure that before we launch ourselves from college to the industry world, we need to make sure we are well ready. Technology today, technology keep on changing. IT industry is very, very, very dynamic industry where things, stay for a very short time. Learning never stops. You need to be flexible. You need to keep learning. The only thing which we would need to focus on is to establish a connect between what we are learning today and whether that learning will help us tomorrow or not. Now, given that when we started our journey, we need to make sure that we need to do our homework pretty well, because every stage there is a final exam. All right, can we move to the next slide? All right, guys, before we talk about data science, I believe many speakers before me, they have talked about, data science. They have given you a brief or, detailed rundown of what the technology landscape, looks like. But I would say, data science is not something which we have, discovered or which is uncovered, today. Data is very crucial. Data is an asset. Data is very important, in our day-to-day life. Be it writing down, things on a piece of paper or memorizing things, in your brain. Data has always, a crucial role in our development. Now, when we talk about, industry, there is, a shift. So before we can jump into, data science, in detail, I would like to draw your focus on the key aspects that primarily to this, when the digital world has knocked our door, the life was, pretty manual and, analog in nature. When we say pretty manual, data then also had a very key role to play. So if you can see a life of an accountant where he is running down, capturing all the figures, doing all the calculations, and then presenting the facts, whether the company is making a profit or a loss. So that time you see that, his position becomes so crucial. No matter, there is manufacturing unit, there is a production unit, there is XYZ units, running in a company, but all the focus, then draw or drill upon to numbers, how a company is, progressing ahead. Even a CEO has to come down to understand, those figures before laying down the next vision for the company. So guys, today we are in a world where, where digital assets or digitization is kind of, everywhere. We are nowhere we are nowhere. Yeah. So we are nowhere. We cannot escape from being introduced to digitization. So when we talk to digitization, there are three common folds which comes together and say that okay, artificial intelligence is one thing, machine learning is one thing, and there is a whole bunch of Internet of Things that comes. So we hear a lot about how artificial intelligence, machine learning are going to change the world, and how the Internet of Things will make everyone's life easier. So again, see, in today's world, we are so much dependent on technology, or I would say we were made dependent on technology, that our footprints are everywhere. No matter you are living in India, but people from across the world can monitor your movements, right? So now you see that the luxury which was provided by various company in form of various applications is basically they are collecting data. So when when we talk about data, each and every movement is kind of tracked, is transformed, is manipulated, is kind of understood the behavior of a human being, how a human being is kind of acting in the different circumstances. So data, I would say artificial intelligence, these modeling is not only in the field, in one field. So I would say, but one thing that underpins every aspect of this is, data. Next slide, please. All right. So guys, as I was speaking that, data is all around, and we are kind of, in the spider web where we are surrounded by, data. So it's like, a neural picture where, data is going everywhere. Be it, coming from Twitter, be it coming from Facebook, be any social media account, be it, YouTube, XYZ, etc., etc. So data is all around. So now you think that, why data is so important, why data is so important. So given that, I would like to start with a use case. All right, guys, before we proceed ahead with the use case, just, a few figures I'm presenting, that how much data do we have. Again, I'm presenting very old statistics. I would show that, the data you can see, in front of you has grown, immensely. So again, in 2008, if you can look at the statistics, Google processes 20 petabyte of data. Facebook has 60 terabyte of daily logs. eBay has 6.5 petabyte of user data plus 50 terabyte of daily usage data. Again, these are all these statistics. But again, if you think about that, if we are talking about back in 2009, 2010, that's where all these data were handled on a physical infrastructure. So I given just a brief of let's say if I need to maintain or store 1 terabyte of a data on a disk, so it used to cost $35 that time. But given that if we are processing so much of huge data on a daily basis, I would say, or in hourly basis, it becomes very difficult from an infrastructure standpoint to maintain the data. And that's wherein the concept of virtualization kicks in. The concept of cloud comes into picture, wherein there is a subscription based model in place wherein data is maintained logically, when the disk is logically partitioned, the data is maintained, and it may be so much of ease to I think dual screen sharing is going on, I believe. All right. So it becomes so much hassle to manage the infrastructure cost, and for industry to manage such huge amount of data, it requires that many multi-million dollar investment on the infrastructure front to maintain that data. So I would like to draw or probably give you a small or easy use case to understand how these aspects of data science work, and why data science in today's world, in today's digital world, is required. Let's take example of Uber. So Uber, we know that they provide a cab service. Now, what do you think, what makes, Uber so rich? Is it the availability of the cab they provide, or is it their service they provide? So again, it's again, put your thinking hat on and then try to just think and say, what makes, Uber? And Uber is now a multi-million dollar company. Can we move to the next slide? All right. So the answer is data. Data makes Uber rich. But again, next question is data enough to grow a business? Or is data everything that will make Uber rich? The answer is a big no. Can you please click on the next slide? So guys, the answer is no. Simply, if we are storing the data and we are not utilizing it, we are not drawing the insights, towards solving the problem, data will not help. And that's where, data science, comes into picture. Why we are saying that, data is so important. If you visit a bank, right? If you visit a bank or if you use a digital, service, often they ask you to provide feedback. Now, do you think that, why those feedbacks are important? Those feedbacks are important for bank to, improve the service, improve their SLA timing, improve the SLA timing. And that's where, things started, making impact. So if you compare the way the government banks, work as compared to, private bank work, there's, there's a hell lot of, difference between, how these two individual or independent, organizations approach. So if you as a consumer walk in government bank, you can feel that, oh, I'm not treated well, right? The person from the bank is not giving me enough importance because me customer, because if you think about today's world, customer is everything. Customer experience is everything. If customer is happy with your service, they would like to, continue using your service. And that's wherein the data, that where, it become important for the service provider to understand their customer, understand their need. So if you take example of, Uber. So can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So as I was mentioning that, data science, if you talk about data science, we need to understand what data science is. Data science is basically the process of, using data to find a solution, to predict outcome for a problem statement. When you say using data to find a solution, we will need to understand what problem statement we are addressing. So for a cab or for a company which provide a cab service, it is very dependent what service it is providing to the customer, what is the level of service it is providing to the customer, and what level of service customer actually wants. Guys, can we move to another slide? All right, so here we'll we will draw your focus on the problem statement. And the problem statement is how Uber ensure the availability of a cab at a cost-effective rate. Now, just think that, Monday morning, you have to go to office, right? And Monday morning is everyone want to go to office. Everyone has to go to office. And that's wherein, as an example, this lady thinks, oh, I need to, go to office. Okay, I'll get ready and, catch Uber and see, So what she does, she picks up a phone and see whether Uber is available at that time or not. Given that time, each and every person, in that area is kind of, trying to look upon for a service, whether a cab is available or not. Maybe it's different platform, Uber, Ola, XYZ. But at the same time, let's take example, 4 to 5 people within the same region at a radius of, 10 kilometers, they want Uber to reach their office on time. But again, when they look at the time, since it's a peak time and everyone wants to, or kind of, want to make money. And that's wherein they say, oh, the cab charge is quite high. I won't be able to, either I don't want to pay extra, or I'm happy to, wait for another half an hour, which will again make her late to the office. But again, the growing demand, higher the demand for cab, higher is the fare charge. And that's wherein, it's become very, very, very problematic is to get a cab. So that's where, Uber says that, okay, since there's, competition in the market, there's Ola is there, the Uber is there. What makes customer to take Uber and not Ola? And that's make the difference. So you can see that, Uber implemented data science, basically to come up and understand the behavior of the customer, to provide this service. Can we move to the next slide? All right, so Uber activate basically the surge pricing algorithm at the busiest location to get more drivers on the road. So that will, solve the problem. So let's say if 10 people are, going, but again, we are not talking about the surge pricing. Again, the surge pricing will enable another opportunity for Uber. So earlier the time, I would say 10 years ago, the time was that everyone want to kind of, board their own taxi. Again, as an individual, each taxi driver is kind of, having one customer and he's driving down. But even that, if everyone wants individual taxi, it'll create the bottlenecks, right? It'll increase the traffic and so forth, other problem. So again, there's another opportunity to understand, okay, how many people are going at the same time? Can they share the cab? And if the answer is yes, that's where customer will start getting benefited by paying less because they are sharing the cab. So that way we can solve the problem of traffic and XYZ stuff, right? That same driver didn't have to play, or the same company didn't have to play toll multiple times, right, as and when they're crossing, because they are taking many passengers at the same time to the same destination. So how these things work, how the data is getting captured, that's the beauty of data science that we need to understand. That will unfold the mystery behind so many things are happening haphazardly without us knowing, us are getting to know that how people or the company is kind of knowing us more than our family member or our friends, right? So that's the beauty of data science. That's the beauty how digital footprint is unlocking a new market, right? And that's the opportunity for us. So I will talk to about how we need to kind of get into this new changing landscape, how we need to kind of make ourselves more productive, how we need to make ourselves more reliant and make self-sufficient, and we will launch ourselves as a package. So that's the crux I would like to cover after this presentation. All right, can we move to the next slide? All right, guys. So when we talk about data science process, right? So before we land into a conclusion that this or that would be the solution of this problem, first we need to understand what the problem is. Now, given the use case which I showed you, Monday morning, a person want to take a cab, but again, I look at the price. Sorry, either I can't get a cab, or if I get a cab, I need to pay extra money, which I don't want to do that. So I'm happy to be late, and I'm happy to give any excuse. But again, you cannot continue doing that on a daily basis, and that's wherein you will fill a feedback form and say that, can we not come up with a competitive price, given that many people want to board, and that's what become your business requirement, right? And that's unlock an opportunity for you to improve the customer experience, and show the value to your customer. So again, looking at your screen, you see that to build a dynamic pricing model that take effect when a lot of people in the same area are requesting ride at the same time. So what will you do? You will start collecting data. When you start collecting data, so Uber, when you go to the app and you know or don't know, your location services are always on your mobile device. And that's what is also captured by the companies, right? So they always say that, guys, whenever you are using your global services like taxi services or any services, right, wherein you want someone to come at certain location, that's where you need to have location services on. So that will feed in additional data to the customer. So the company will kind of track the weather information. Company will track your pick up and drop location. Company will track the holidays. Company will track how many people are boarding the cab from a certain area or certain radius. So all the data is being collected. Now when the data is collected, it will move to the next stage called data cleaning. Now, you know that when the data is collected, there is huge amount of, extra data is also being collected as well. So let's say we are in a market area, right? We are at a position again. We send our location detail to the Uber driver, and he's kind of coming in and say, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes or 2 minutes or probably a minute. But along with that data, it will also capture the details of the nearby cafe, restaurants, or XYZ area. So when you say data cleaning, because since our focus is for the customer, need to provide them the cab facility on time to a certain location, we don't need, what restaurants are there, right? What cafes are there. So what we can do is we can take out those extra information out, and that's wherein we move to the data modeling stage. Now in data modeling, whatever data we have kind of captured is kind of moved to data modeling stage. Sorry guys, there's probably one step is missing, and that is called data exploration. So data exploration is basically they will brainstorm, they will try to understand the data, they will draw comparisons, they will try to seek meaningful information before that cleansed explode data is moved to the data modeling stage. And data modeling stage where your machine learning, your artificial intelligence comes into play. When you load your test data, you run against you run against various scenarios, and you try to monitor the outcome of the data. Once that data moves from that cycle, it goes to the data validation stage. So when I say data validation stage, it basically goes into the testing phase. So let's say as an example, what they will do is they will release a beta version. So again, you in technology, you understand that always before launching the final version of a product, a beta version of a product is always released, just to ensure that if there are either any anomalies available, that can be sorted out, and that can helpful in terms of deriving the right outcome which will make a customer happy. So it's again, all the exercise is done just to make the user or the customer very happy. So what happens is a new user data is being loaded and mapped or compared against the historical data that is there in the system, right? If there is any glitch. So as an example, so someone's date of birth is kind of getting mismatched, right? That's when the system will throw an error. Now that notification, or probably that defect, will then pass it on to the data scientist. Data scientist will then look into the issue, and he will then fix it. Once that issue is fixed, it will again retest it after multiple iterations of testing. Once they are if they are very happy with the result, that's wherein the code is deployed into production. Guys, how many times you would have noticed that if you are running multiple applications, or you have downloaded multiple applications on your mobile device, right? After a period of probably 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, you will find that there is some updates which is coming in, and then your phone is basically prompting you or sending you notification that, hey, XYZ application is asking for an update. Do you want to make an update? And without you knowing what has happened to that application, you just simply update, right? So again, if it is a software version upgrade, if you're Apple if you are holding an Apple device, that generally company disclose that what changes they will be making as part of this upgrade. So again, if you read through those information, there are minor activities is kind of going around and saying that, okay guys, this is what has been we have kind of noticed in the background. So in the background, someone is kind of patiently waiting for you to make any move, so that they can capture that data as an input, they can work upon, and they can cleanse that data, they can model that data, and they can create an output of data which can help you with your problem without you knowing. All right guys, can we move to the next slide? Sorry guys, I'm taking some time. All right guys, so again, data science is not limited only to Uber. Data science is everywhere. Now if you think about Amazon, right? The owner of the Amazon, he is the multimillionaire, right? He's the number one richest person on earth. And the reason for being is because he has all the data. Now he's playing around with the data, right? When I say playing around with the data, it's basically they are using human digital footprints and forcing them to buy the product, right? Now, how it is being done? You go to the Amazon site, or you go to eBay site, you go to any site. You are running all these URLs on Google, browser. Now, Google has tendency to store your history, which site you have visited, how many times you have visited, what link you have access on that site. What happens is, let's say as an example, you go to Amazon site, you look for, oh, looks like I need a pair of new shoes. Okay, you go there, you look for that shoe, and you said, oh, looks like I don't have that much budget, and you let go. Now, okay, that was the time wherein you forcibly make yourself understood that I don't need a shoe. But what happens next? Like your mother, if you if she wants you to drink milk every night, she will kind of keep on repeating, right? And that's exactly the same thing is happening with technology. You said, okay, let me watch a movie on YouTube, or let me watch a clip on YouTube. And that's when you open a YouTube, and that's when you can see that whatever shoe you were kind of looking for, that you can see that shoes, plus there are other options available for you to find out. Not only that shoe is available, but they can also give you some options as well. Okay, hey, this shoe is kind of costing you 5,000 rupees, but there is an alternate shoe, same brand, but it'll cost you 1,500 rupees cheaper. Would you like to buy? So again, they're kind of negotiating with you, and you cannot say anything. What will you do? You will end up going to the site and you will make that purchase. What will happen? By capturing those details, Amazon has forced you without asking you to make that purchase, and see what happens. You end up buying the shoe. But again, you end up not buying the shoe you wanted, but I end up buying a shoe which you didn't want. But again, they gave you option, whether you like it or not my problem. That's wherein how this company is making business. Now again, same thing is happening with Apple Watch. But again, in the field of science, I wouldn't say that data science, but I would say data science has opened a Pandora box. When I say Pandora box, I would say an opportunity in every field. I will give you an example. So when I was looking to buy a house, sorry guys, I'm taking time. When I was looking to buy a house, I visited realestate.com.au. Now I gave in the search, in the filter, I said, okay, I want a house in this area. Fine. I gave the specification. I want a 4-bedroom house with 2 car park, 2 bathrooms, etc., etc. Okay, it has recorded that. Now what happens is, I will run a search. It will give me a list of the houses there, right? But what happens? Looks like the house is kind of quite expensive. I'm not planning to buy the house. The very next day, when you open your Gmail, since you need to kind of register yourself so that you can mark the houses you need, what will you do? You will say, okay, sorry, it's been very late. I should not look or spend more time on website. But you are sleeping, but Google is working, right? And that's wherein Google will send you some suggestions next day when you open your laptop, right? You see that website has sent you multiple options, and that's when you will start spending the time again. So guys, I would say that technology is one way helping us in terms of finding what we were not able to find in very less time. I will draw your attention on the research which Apple has done. But again, guys, need to understand that if you wear an Apple Watch, right, they have come up with a lot of options. And again, this theory is again, it's not a theory. It's basically a real example. Again, a guy from US, he was wearing Apple monitor. Suddenly he got a heart attack, right? But again, nothing major happened. He was saved by the doctors. But at the same time, what Google did, Google was monitoring the health information of an individual. It was collecting data, its heart rate, sleep cycle, breathing rate, activity level, blood pressure level, whether the guy is, exercising or not, and it creates the algorithm using the artificial intelligence, using the data which you were, providing. You were the input basically. So you provided the data for them to create a beautiful, health application which helped save your life. So guys, you need to understand, but again, I have given you example of, Apple Watch. You don't need to go and ask your daddy to spend, some extra bucks to get you Apple Watch. But I want you to get or become self-reliant, become data analyst, become data science, and gift your dad an Apple Watch. It can save their life in case you're not there. All right, guys, can we move to the next slide? All right, guys, now I would say more than, the information on data science, this slide holds, or this slide is what my best slide is. Given that now, I would say in India, government is taking all the initiative or all the measures, towards upskilling the individual, right? In whatever field we would like to go. So that's wherein, guys, if you want to, or if you're aspiring, data scientist, guys, you need to do lot of work. But again, there is a catch, or there is some good information, right? Again, a data scientist basically is a professional who possesses the ability to transform data into useful insights to make better business decisions. And guys, I would like to draw your attention again to something very, very important, which has happened a few months back, right? And I think you all know I'm talking about, COVID-19. So again, this COVID-19, is a pandemic, right? It's created a situation where it has put the whole economy, the whole world to a stop. But at the same time, it has opened hell lot of, opportunity. So if you think, right, if you can think around, just take a deep breath, just think that what can be done, and how can you help, right? You are all, computer science students, right? You are all, you understand technology, you understand data, you understand how data can be transformed, how data can be massaged, right? What technology we can use. You can create an application. I will give you an example. I will give you example of, Australian, metro train, right? One of my friend, he's working as a data scientist, right? Now, the problem is, if you know that, train, if train is running as per its schedule, or it's a sunny day scenario, everything is fine, right? Even if you reach the station just few seconds, earlier, there are chances that you will get the train. But what happens, due to XYZ reason, the train comes late, you will miss your important meeting. Now that important meeting will cost, X amount of, money to your company, because that's when, if you're a very important person, if you are required in that meeting and that meeting could not progress because you were not able to join the meeting. Now in Australia, people, they generally use, a lot of public transport. So it's very reliant. Now, how it is made reliant is because of, use of data science. I'm not saying they started with data science, but I'm saying that they are learning. They are learning, and they are bringing those experiences into action by creating a value, creating a great experience for its customer, right? So what they have done, I will give you one small example. So you know that in metro train, the door, automatically, open and shut, right? Now, the metro train is serviced. If you say that, vendor has said, okay, I have built this metro train coaches for Australia, right? And recently India has done that. And say that as per vendor, agreement, you should, service your coaches to all the electric checks, all the electromagnetic checks, you know, at, at three, at an interval of, 3 months. Every 3 months, you need to do those checks. Now, there is a scheduled maintenance window as well. If there is a technology upgrade, you need to upgrade, you need to test. So again, there is a cycle, there is a fixed time. But again, do you think that, company, a metro company who has to kind of, service the customer, are they planning to, take that risk? Right? No. What they have done is they have they have attached the IoT devices, on the door. So what they are doing is they are monitoring the condition, the health of the door, right? Whether it is, opening appropriately or not. See, now the beauty with data science is without, problem occurs, you should know that, the problem will occur. And before the problem occurs, you tend to, fix it. So that's the beauty of, data science. But again, guys, when you start applying for data science jobs, right, there's a whole laundry list of skills which company is looking for. But don't worry, those are just the wish list, right? All you need to do is you need to be master of one programming language. I would say Python is the hottest technology. And the beauty of Python is that it will give you all the libraries. You Siri, right? You say, hey Siri, what's the weather today? And how come Siri, talk to you? And you won't believe I said, hey Siri, how's the weather today? And that's when, Siri fires up on my system and she's kind of, looking for that. And she's kind of recording what I'm saying. So again, guys, that's the beauty, right? So there's a natural language processing library in Python, which you can use. Just a moment, guys. All right. So that's the thing. Now, again, I would like to give you a small difference between BI, business intelligence, as well as data science. Often these two are getting kind of mix up or misunderstood. So BI, when we are talking about BI, we are talking about business intelligence, wherein the skilled resources, they actually work on the structured data, right? So they need to make sure the data should be very, 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 very clean. So they need to understand data first. However, in data science, you have luxury, right? If you understand what problem you want to solve, no matter what data comes in, you can cleanse, right? You can brainstorm, you can extrapolate the data, right? You can play around with the data, right? And you can load and you can validate the result and you can retry again. But you won't get that luxury with business intelligence. And that's where these two skill sets are completely different. I would say BI, unfolds into data science. All right, guys. So being a data scientist, the prediction is, again, these are all old statistics, but I would say I have recently read it that, IBM has said that there will be, 20 million jobs, available by the end of, December 2020. So I would say, guys, gear up, right? Start making yourself, available to the market. But again, before you can launch yourself, guys, you need to do a lot of homework, right? You need to learn these skills. And guys, these skills are readily available. You don't need to spend single penny from your pocket, right? These platforms are easily available. If you can create your, accounts on, Coursera, if you can create your account on Udemy, if you can create your account, on probably Azure, Microsoft is offering free training as well as free certification as well. So again, I would say, guys, don't sit back, right? Read what's going through, what's happening in the world, right? And I would thanks the whole faculty to arrange such a beautiful opportunity for people like us to kind of share our experience, and we can help you with that. And guys, the good news I was talking about is that I'm not here to just speak on this subject. All I'm here is to form a partnership with your college, and we are happy to provide the career guidance. And the best part is, don't worry, we will not charge you anything. So guys, please connect with us. This is what we want for you. This is what we want to give back to our country, to my country, to your country. And guys, always, always, always believe, united we stand, divided we fall. So guys, if the government is talking about, upskilling yourself, guys, they are not coming and, teaching you, right? You need to be self-reliant. You need to be self-taught, right? So I would say, guys, I would request, college to kind of, I know that, there is a set curriculum that we need to follow. But guys, we are all open, right? We can bring in extra skills, on the platform. We can upskill our resources. We can upskill our, faculty as well. Guys, we need to form our partnerships, right? With Microsoft, with, AWS, and we need to bring these people into our respective organization, right? And the reason why I'm saying is because these companies will provide you an insight of what's happening today, because they know what will happen tomorrow. And this is what we know. Being data science guys, why we cannot, utilize this opportunity, right? Why we cannot utilize this opportunity, and we can show the world that, hey, we are no second. We are always first, and we will always be first, right? You won't believe, if you have capability, you will welcome with open arms, right? And my experience, living in Australia is people here are very, very open, right? Very, very open. I personally, me, I was given all the opportunity, right? I was given all the opportunity, and I'm kind of, exploring, and I'm kind of, learning. So I would say, guys, if you want to grow, have a teacher and a child always living inside yourself. And why the reason I'm saying the child will help you grow, the teacher within you will guide the child to grow. So, guys, this is what I have learned from my mentors. I have learned from my seniors. I have learned from, our elders. All right, guys. Sorry, I took majority of your time, and I sincerely, apologize. If there are any questions, guys, please feel free to ask, or probably do let me know that if I'm over time. Then I'm happy. I see all my details are with Mr. Kaushal, as well as my beloved Mr. Sajid sir. So please, reach out to them if you want to reach out to, myself. And I'm saying that, we would like to, form that, partnership. We would like to, provide the career, guidance path, right? So we will, work towards that. I will, regularly will be in touch with, Sajid sir, as well as the respective, faculty members. And that's wherein we will definitely, we would like to, grow this partnership. We would like to, engage into such a sessions wherein we can share our experience, and we can help, ourselves to grow and, come forward. So always, guys, please don't think that you are second. Always place yourself, first, and always prove that you will be, accepted, that you are first, right? So please have faith in yourself, right? And I know that it is tough situation, COVID-19, but guys, it's not end of world, right? It's not end of world. It's a new beginning, right? So open with new opportunities, guys. Gear up, and, try to unleash and try to conquer this time, because it is our time. All right, guys, with this, I would like to end. But again, guys, if there are any questions, do let me know.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an informative session. So those who are interested in asking any question can raise your hands or write the question in the chat box.
If you can help me, by reading, two to three
Yeah, sure,
questions,
sir.
that would
I'll
be
read
great.
the questions for you.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Question by Krishna Prasad. Could you explain importance of Python and R regarding data science and machine learning? Which language is better and why?
I would say, go with Python, because Python will provide you all the, libraries, right? So you don't need to, create your libraries. You need to have the data. But again, Python as a language, you need to, you need to learn. So it will provide you the libraries for, NLP, which is, natural processing language. If you want to experiment and create, a competitor of, Siri, right? You can do that, right? And again, it is used for, predictive, analytics. So again, as I said, data science is not limited to, certain field. Data science is everywhere. So I can give you one more example. When, the presidential, elections were happening in United States of America, when Obama was, fighting for the first time, right? So that's where what they did was they said, okay, guys, please install Obama app. People without knowing, what that app will make a difference. And that's where, people whosoever, install that Obama apps, I think they all voted for Obama. And that's where all the data were collected. And that confidence was passed on to, Obama, what you can say, team. The guys, there is a Obama wave, and we can tell you with confidence because we can see the data is coming, right? So, guys, Python is one thing, and guys, I would say to you that create your login or create your account, on Udemy. Sometimes they give some offers where Python from beginner to advanced level is taught for free. So again, one of the lecturer or probably whosoever has got interest in sharing their knowledge, they will teach you Python from scratch. So guys, Python is the next hot language that you need to learn. Next
So
question.
next question is how digital marketers can reap the benefits of data science.
All right, guys. So see, digital markets. When I say digital market, when you talk about digital market, you are collecting all the data, right? So before launching your product, right, what you will do is you will run some aggressive, advertisements. I will give you one example, right? So again, as an example, let's say you want to open a restaurant, right? And you have hired a digital, advertising, agency. What they will tell you, they will tell that, okay, guys, since you are specialized in, making delicious food, you guys focus on that and leave, rest to us. How they will transform is they will start running the aggressive, advertisement on Facebook, right? On your cable televisions via, multiple, like Airtel, Videocon, Expert, Tata Sky. They will start running your advertisements on Google. They will start running your advertisement on those platforms. Now, what happens is when these advertisements start slowing, that's when you said, oh, okay, there is a new restaurant which has opened, nearby in our area. What we will do? Okay, guys, I think I have seen these multiple advertisements that they cook, this dish, very good and XYZ sort of. Let's give it a try. That's where you will go. Now, what they will do is to make you a customer, they will feed you with good food, right? And they will charge you. But at the same time, when returning the change, they will give you a coupon of 10%. Now, what they have done with this, they have forced you to come back again, right? And what just for 10%, you will definitely come back. But again, guys, 10% is just an influencer, a motivator. But if you like the food, you will definitely come back. And that's where how a customer base is kind of, increased. That's wherein all the behaviors is kind of, getting recorded, right? Certain, population like certain things, right? They want to do things, in certain way. All these behaviors are kind of, getting notified. And I believe I did attended, the first introductory session where Mr. Shitish Kumar was kind of, covering all the details. So it's again, all the fashion websites and all those sort of stuff, guys, they are kind of, monitoring you. They are kind of, tracking you. So again, if you're thinking that no one is watching, if you think that, your mom and dad is not watching, but again, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, everyone is watching you. All right. Next question.
Sir, one last question is data science demands data segmentation or
Hello, your voice is breaking.
sir, hello?
Yes, go on. I'm listening. Hello. So you said data science required data
Data
segmentation.
segmentation
Guys,
or not?
yeah. Okay. So guys, when you say data segmentation, the answer is, confident yes. The reason is, it is part of the data cleansing process, right? So we need to segment data. So let's say, again, it depends upon what problem you want to solve, right? Again, you cannot use data for solving all the problems. Now, if you know what problem you want to solve, that's when you will use the data effectively. Like for example, if you are if you're working on a vaccine for COVID-19, what data will you need? Do you need persons, that what is the foot size of that person? I wouldn't say, right? But you will definitely take his name, you know uh, his age, right? And his medical history, because his medical history will tell you whether that vaccine will be effective for that particular individual or not. Now we know that a segment or probably a certain age group, when you say 75 to 80 or 65 to, let's say, 80, is very vulnerable to this disease, right? So if they come in contact, the chances of them recovering from COVID-19 is very, very less, right? So what you will say is, and you will make the dosage, accordingly. No matter a healthy person is there, and there's an old guy, can you give them same medicine? So let's say they have got a headache, right? And you want to give them uh, uh, paracetamol as an example. Sorry, guys, I'm not a medicine expert here, but just an example, or probably a fever as an example. So can you give a 500 mg dose to a person who is in his 20s, and the person who is in his 80s? I would say you know the answer, right? You won't prescribe same heavy dose to a person who is in a very old age. So that's where, guys, segmentation is definitely important. And if we know what problem we are going to solve, we will use the data accordingly.
Thank you so much, sir. Now over to you, Tanu ma'am.
Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am. I would like to thank Ashok Jha sir for taking his precious time and consenting to be the speaker of the day. Thank you, sir, for excellent presentation. Indeed, it was a wonderful session with a whole lot of real-life examples and case studies like Uber, Apple Watch, Amazon, which will help the beginner of data science to relate and understand the entire process in a better and efficient way. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Indeed, it's a pleasure, right? And it's always good to, I would say, back in college. Anything which has got a study or learning or a college associated, it brings back the memory. So guys, thank you very much. And guys, I would like to thank you very much for one more thing. In this COVID-19, we have stopped a habit of wearing our business formal attire, right? So after a gap of 4 months, thanks, you gave me an opportunity to wear my business uniform. So guys, thank you very much. And please be safe. That's important. Since you are the future, we need to keep future safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let us now welcome the second speaker of the day, Mohammad Nayar Ali. Sir is working as a senior consultant in Mercedes-Benz and has vast experience in providing consultation to the top-notch automobile companies. Welcome, sir. Over to you.
So basically, the time the Carl Benz is I think the father of the car, father of the car, the first car was invented by that was Carl Benz in 1886, and the time there was no drawing, there was no computer science at the time, but somehow that was the beginning of the car inventions. And nowadays, as the time goes, the everything changed. So please next. So these are the drafting. These are the drafting, in 1886, and now this drafting has already been changed, and nowadays you are seeing the drafting is to be done by the best technology, is using by the drafting and the architect. The designing is nowadays the Mercedes is using is MATLAB, Simulink, Autodesk. So nowadays, the shape, the design of the car, because of the computer science, everything changed. So please, next slide. So this was the car at that time. There was no computer science, no designing, no software, and that was a preliminary time. So we are using this car. Next slide. This also, Mercedes-Benz 19. This was the first racing car in the 1998. 1908. Next, please. Nowadays, this Maybach, this is the advanced versions, and this is the concept car, and it was launched in the Pebble Beach in 2017. And see, because of the presence of the CS, the advanced computer systems, the advanced language, nowadays the times in 90s, in early 90s, and nowadays is changed. Okay, next slide. So next. Next, please. So basically, this Maybach 6, this is the concept and the visionary car, and we are hoping to come in the market in 2035. So we are hoping to launch this car. Swati, can you play please the video?
Yes, sir. I can play. I will stop sharing these slides.
Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. So the next.
Hey, you want to see something cool? Hi.
Hello. So, please come inside. Beauty is the essential part in our philosophy. We have some iconic products that have a long heritage. For me, working as a designer for Mercedes was always special to fill the next frame.
Advanced exterior design is kind of radar system towards the future. really try to crash through borders and be disruptive in the normal way of creating.
When it comes to creation, whether it's concept or whether it's beauty, it's always good to bring different disciplines together.
So it's a process of always little startup situations in an established modern company. So what we have to do is open our hearts and minds to areas where we did not think of yet.
All designers start doing sketches. And with Gordon, we choose, I would say, the best.
Some people say we have designed some of the most beautiful cars in the history of this company, which is a great compliment.
Okay, and now we are facing the truth. This is what you get at the end. You can do sketches over a weekend, yeah? But to really bring this sketch into life, it takes us, I would say, 1 year. Everything what we do has to be desirable. Therefore, you really have to fight on every corner of the car. If this car looks, even in rainy Sindelfingen, as good as in sunny California, then we have done our job perfectly.
Once the baby is born, we need to develop it, and for that you need to have specialists and have people in exterior, interior, digital, and so on and so on. People who know their subject and their field to work it out.
We try to bring both together, the world of the true materials that people expect from a luxury product, but also this high-tech aspect that you experience when you enter the car. We like to call the interior of a car the third place. So next to your home and your working area, the car is a place not only to get from A to B, but also to live in the car in a way. Larger, more static screens, a better connection, get our own social network into the car. This is getting more and more important.
Designers typically like simplicity. Simple solutions make complex technology user-friendly, and I think this is important. Design time zone is around 2021 right now, but if you think about concept, it goes way beyond that, another 10 years. And as you have to fast forward your watch when you come inside our secret area here, I think we have a good feeling for what can be possible.
Yes, now this was the last video. I think, Gordon was the chief designer there, and there's a special branch, GMGH branch that handling the special section, the designing. So I hope a very short, slide as well as the video was shared by me. That was not big. So for anything, I'm requesting to Ms. Swati share my LinkedIn ID and as well as email. If anything, you can drop me email and you can contact me by LinkedIn as well. And I'm very thankful to joining always. So have a great day.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request our head of department, Mr. Kaushal Shakya, for the vote of thanks to our speaker and participant. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tanu madam. Am I audible?
Sir, yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, so honorable speaker, Mr. Ashok Jha sir, Mr. Mohammad Nayyar Ali, it's my pleasure to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this evening. I, on behalf of Department of Computer Science, Satyug Darshan Institute of Engineering and Technology, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to honorable speakers Mr. Ashok Jha and Muhammad Nayyar Ali, who honored us with their presence and took out a valuable time of their busy schedule. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Mr. Ashok Jha and Muhammad Nayyar Ali. Mr. Jha nicely explained data science with the case studies that were very useful for the students as well as faculty members. Thank you, sir, very much. Mr. Muhammad Ali explained how computers are deeply involved in design and development of top-notch automobile product. He nicely explained with an example of Mercedes-Benz. So I heartily congratulate and thanks to all the participants for their active participation. I extend my big thanks to our Department of Computer Science for successfully organizing this evening. Thank you all for your contribution. To all the participants, the feedback forms are available in the chat. Please fill it before leaving. Okay, thank you, Tanu madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Today's session was a blend of data science, AI, machine learning, and computer science in automobile industry. This marks the beautiful end of the session today. Dear participant, please fill the feedback form that is provided in the chat box link. I hope we will meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the last informative session of this 5-day International Symposium on Day 5.